Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It's the Final Four edition of the crossover with Joe R. Lucas. And what an event we have for you this year in Berlin, the Final Four with four of the best teams that EuroLeague has to offer, although there's so many more that could be here. But it's these four that we're going to talk about here today at the crossover. Of course, everybody's used to the crossover being a sit-down interview with your favorite player, coaches, or legends. Today, we're going to change it up a little bit and do a little roundtable, and we're going to speak to some of our distinguished guests here that we have at the crossover. First, I'm going to start with a Turkish journalist. That's right. Fenerbahce is back in the Final Four, and we're going to start with Ismail Seynal. My man, how are you? BN Sports, big-time legend. I'm so happy to have you on the show. You're going to have so much to talk about and fill us in on that Turkish side.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joe. It's great to be here. And it was, seeing you all the time, being able to touch you, being able to talk to you during Final Fours in media areas. It was always great. But now being in here, like I'm excited, man. It's great to be around these legends. And thank you for your invitation.
I see over your right shoulder there you got a book on Julius Erving.
Yeah, Dr. J, man.
Get to my soul right there. And now, Dr. J, let's go back to our next distinguished guest, who is it's the biggest honor for me to have Coach on my show. I call him Coach. He's a friend. I call him whatever I want to call him, but I love when I see him and I give him a big hug. One of the best players of all time, drafted by going to the Julius Erving thing, Coach, drafted by the Boston Celtics in 1982. You're making me feel old, my man. Coach Panathinaikos Giannakis. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Joe. I'm enjoying so much to be with you.
82,
and never forget how punish my teams when I play against you. You were unbelievable, scoring forward. I always I wanted to be teammate with you. I always wanted, but that never happens. It never happens.
There's so many people I always want to be teammates with too. You're definitely one of them. And the other one, unfortunately, couldn't catch his flight tonight because, he's a point guard. What do you expect, He says his flight was late, but David Rivers, who's going to be another guest of ours on Saturday night, he may still show up in time before we're done here. David Rivers is going to be our other distinguished guest.
That's all right. David Rivers?
Yeah, David's going to be with us. They say he missed the play. I think he's getting a little slow in his old age, Coach.
Yeah. He was so quick when he played.
Yeah, well, I could jump back when I played too. Right now, I can't jump over a sandwich.
Now you can't dunk anymore, Joe? Come on.
No. The risk reward of going up and jumping and dunking and the 15 days of being hospitalized afterwards are not worth the video. I have a friend that just did it recently for his 45th birthday. He does it every year.
You adjust your game European style. You play smart now. It's not necessary to play so athletic.
How much would I love to sit outside the three-point line now and just shoot three-pointers all day? This would have been great.
More easy.
Yeah, but they play defense nowadays, Coach. I don't know about that.
It doesn't matter. Leave Tavares to block the shots.
Yeah, exactly. I can do that. I always, the third man defense. Hey,
Okay.
let's get into this game. We're going to kind of analyze both series, okay? Both games, both semifinal games. And I want to do it in a way where it's important that we talk about the road to the Final Four, how they arrived to the Final Four, so to speak, how they are now, and what we can expect from this series. So, Ismael, I'm going to start with you because we're going to start with the Fenerbahce Panathinaikos series. And let's go back to the beginning of the season. I mean, Coach Itoudis, one of the most famous coaches around, EuroLeague champion with CSKA Moscow, has some tough times. I don't know what went on during that beginning of the season. I know they had a tough time on the road. And now all of a sudden, they signed Coach Jasikevičius with a point guard that they hated each other, so to speak, from what we heard in Barcelona. And everything became like crystal clear. And to me, it's one of the hottest teams in the league. Talk to me a little bit about Fenerbahce, especially in the beginning of that season.
At the beginning of the season, it was quite interesting because when I go to the, I like to have the insight of the coaches, and every year I go to their clinics with the EuroLeague head coaches board. So during the season in Antalya, I had the conversation with Coach Itoudis, and also his assistant Stefanos Dedas was there to talk about his philosophy. And this summertime, I had the feeling that, okay, Fener now will change their style, their style more of a, high-paced team, which will shoot a lot of three-pointers, the open lanes for Scotty Wilbekin and Marko Guduric to drive, but it's going to be a high-paced team, which will take a lot of three-pointers, because it was like the assistant coach's philosophy would have more effect on it with the signing of Yorgos Papagiannis, Nate Sestina, who are incredibly good shooters on front court. So I thought it would have been their system. It went really well, actually, on the offensive side, but there were times when Fener didn't run too much, and also defensively, they had some issues. And the management said, okay, we're going to have the change. And when you have the change, that's very tough. On the paper, Sharas Jasikevičius and this roster, it doesn't match. And as you said, Joe, what happened in Barcelona with Kalatis and Jasikevičius. By the way, I recently had an interview with Coach Jasikevičius, and I directly asked him because Kalatis has this quote after Coach Jasikevičius, after he left Barcelona, and he said that I want to have more freedom on the court. I'm not young anymore, and I know how to play basketball. This is what he exactly said. And then I asked this to Coach Sharas, and I asked Sharas, this was the quote, and I'm really curious. What was the first communication when you get to him? Like when you come back to Fener? Said there was no communication. We are at the same breed with coaches and players. We're at the same breed, and the grass is always greener on the other side. He said. Yeah. He said players always want to play in a different role, and this is what he said. And then the continuous is like the coaches always want the other players on their team. So like it's been understandable that it was a mutual love affair in Barcelona, but they came here. That's ultra professionalism, because at the beginning of the season, please don't forget that Fener announced that they will not continue with Nick Kalatis, even though he has a contract, and they said that he's practicing here, and they signed Raul Neto, this Brazilian point guard coming from the NBA, and Raul Neto, unfortunately, he had a big injury. He had to finish the season. He couldn't start the season because of the injury. And then they went back as a professional. They said that, hey, Nick, we need you, man. We have your contract, so you need to play. And Nick said, all right, man, let's go practice. What time is the team practice? Just tell me and I'll be there. So it was.
Nick wants to play, but going back to that moment when it was announced that Jasikevičius came in, I would have loved to have been in the same room with Nick at that time. to see exactly what he had to say.
But hey Joe, it worked really well, and I think
well, we're gonna get to that in a minute because he ends up hitting 2 3-pointers at the end, which is amazing to me. Coach, I want to get your take about, from a coaching aspect, what it is like at that point where they get rid of Ituris and they come in with Jasikevičius to become the coach. What does that do for a team? What's the philosophy for a coach? And what's that process, Coach? It's really important for people to understand. It's a big change for players.
Joe, I was surprised too for the way of Nick playing after this situation with Barcelona left and find again the same coach. For me, is the power of the motivation of the target. What's going on? Kalathis wanted to play. Jasikevičius wanted to take the best from Kalathis because he didn't have any other solution. He wanted to give him his respect, and both of them, they make one step back because they know they have to cooperate. And also, Kalathis understand when he face up both coaches, does like so much to him, understanding that he has to take care about what the plan the team has, what they need from him. It's not necessary from all the possessions to decide by himself. He needs to follow the plan. Sometimes can get some possessions from his ideas, but he has to cut the most of the numbers of the possessions because this is the most important. Fener changed all the view of the basketball which they play for me, because anybody take care for defense, and they understand that they have to play two ways game. What I mean with this, I mean maybe you need to play fast, but also you need to play 5-on-5 if you want to have good results, because this professional group needs to have results. Doesn't mean anything only to play with the 3-pointers or with the 2-pointers. Doesn't mean anything. You have to play for winning. That means you have to take care about how you adjust your game. And this was the power of the Fener. You see the game against Monaco. What's going on?
Yes.
They play with one team who runs with a guard, fast and shooting threes. They play that type of game in the beginning of the series, but the end of the series, they have to play 5-against-5. And they have their answer. They change the players. They put Sestina number 5. They put 4 guards. So they have this advantage as a team. They have many players now with more possession than one to play. So they have the opportunity to change the way of looking the game. This was the power of Fener. And this is the changes of Sarunas. They understand now all the players, they can give a head to the team to winning the game, even if they play 4 or 5 possessions than to play 30 minutes game. You see Pierre, maybe he does start, he does play, and he arrived to the 4th quarter and he can play. This is, for me, the most important for one team to have advantage to win the trophy, to have players to understand it. Fenerbahce needs to have high-level players, but needs this high-level playing in the less possessions. Maybe they put Wilbeck in from the bench to shoot 1-3 because they have advantage against this possession. For me, when they changed this way of playing mentally, because this was the most important, everybody understanding that can give something special to the team. For me, this is something which every team has to work on when they are in good moment.
Yeah.
Try to put pressure to the mind of the players. Try to put pressure during the season, because this type of game can give you the trophy. You never have straight with running up and down and play free to winning the trophy. That's my opinion.
I think Fenerbahce has found like you say, Coach, the perfect mix of defense and offense on both sides.
That's right.
Which I think that makes them maybe one of the more complete teams in this Final Four. But one thing I want to point out to me is I was hard on Sarunas. I was hard on Jasikevičius over the years because I thought he didn't wait long enough to become a coach. And I thought he didn't get rid of that player's attitude. And I thought that was part of his issue maybe in Barcelona. And in Zalgiris, he did a good job. But, I see a different person now. I see a coach now. I don't see an ex-player anymore. And I think that's a huge transition that he's made maybe over that year of the sabbatical where he was off and he was able to see it from the outside. But this whole Colates thing and the way that, Coach, like you're explaining now, the way he's made this team, he's developed a culture, a different culture of winning and losing and how to win and how to lose and be successful after losing from a coach's standpoint. And just the fact that he's able to put the past behind him now, and I see Colates make 2-3 pointers at the end of the game. Are you kidding me? I mean, I every game I watch, I'm like, let Colates shoot the ball. If he beats us, he beats us.
But Joe,
he beat Monaco.
Joe, not only please,
it's okay.
Coach.
Go ahead, man.
No, please.
If you get comfortable with the way which you believe that you are a part of the game, you are part of the team, and you feel comfortable, you catch well the ball, and you feel you put your legs with a comfort base, everybody can shoot.
Right.
Free. And because I understand that most of the coaches, they said about Colates, let him to shoot. But Colates is not shooting all the time. He moved the ball with dribbling or with the passing. But he's comfortable with his game now.
Yes.
He feels comfortable.
Yes.
So he can shoot if you let him alone.
Anybody can shoot, but can you make it? That's the question.
Yeah, this is true. But if you are free, you
have to shoot.
Even now, without have so good conditioning, no good legs, you can shoot from three.
Hey, I can tell you one thing, because now I want to jump over to Panathinaikos. Panathinaikos is not going to let him shoot as much as Monaco did, because they're going to have to keep an eye on Colates. Now let's go to Panathinaikos, because Panathinaikos is a crazy story. Because here comes Ataman, and he's doing it again. He's taking the team from last place, and he brings them to second place in the regular season, which normally in every normal year is probably going to be first place. But Real Madrid was Real Madrid this year, and now it's Panathinaikos. But again, let's go back to the beginning of the season, because I think at one point Panathinaikos was the same situation as Fenerbahce, 6-6. They weren't doing so well. And again, I will tell you that I predicted, and I'll tell you how good I am at doing my job, is that I predicted that Ataman would not make it until Christmas. between
Oh,
the culture of Panathinaikos. They started to lose. Things were not good. I'm like, Adamant has this fury about him all the time. He's angry at everybody, but he's happy.
Mhm.
He's the happiest angry man I've ever seen. And I said he'll never make it past Christmas time. And look, I can't be any more wrong, can I? He's in the Final Four again. Amazing story. Either one of you can take this one.
I can tell you about Ergin Ataman is that when he has the connection with his ball handlers, he was always there. He was always there because in Efes in 2000 he had the first Final Four in Efes. He had Damir Mulaomerovic and Hidayet Türkoğlu as the main ball handlers from wing and the point guard spot. So they were free. They did everything. In Siena he had Vrbica Stefanov, and of course the old men from the past, Petar Namoski, when they won the Korać. I think it was Korać back in that days. Maybe Saporta. The name has changed, but they were also having this connection with them. And then when he came to Beşiktaş, he won the league after like how many years? Like 25 years. He won with Carlos Arroyo. He had the same connection with Carlos Arroyo in Galatasaray too. He made the EuroLeague playoffs with them. And then when he came to Efes, it was the connection between Shane Larkin, Vasa Mitsic, and him. And also Kruno Simon was also another ball handler that he had the great connection. But
one of my all-time favorite players in EuroLeague, Simon. I love him. He's like my favorite player of all time. I love him.
He can walk and he can distribute everything over there. You know, he plays winning. So what he did was, like, when he had this connection with his guards, boom, he goes immediately very well. At the beginning of the season, he didn't have his connection with Luka Vildosa, and obviously it didn't work. And you see he's out of the rotation right now. But when Kendrick Nunn came, and Slukas, probably Coach Yanakis knows everyone more than everyone else, and he will tell more about Slukas. But like, when he had the connection with Slukas, because Slukas needed this and Ergin Ataman needed this, and then Kendrick Nunn came, boom, it was like they had the connection. And then it was an incredible, because Ergin Ataman doesn't play with a high rotation. He plays 7, 8 players tops. You know, he always plays 6, 7, 8 players. So when he had the connection with his two guards, it was great. And it's very interesting to me for Panathinaikos because Kendrick Nunn is a EuroLeague rookie. Juancho Hernan Gomez is a EuroLeague rookie, and they are main players of this team, and they are the EuroLeague rookies, and it was really tough. And what he found with Kalaitzakis, and I think it has and Jerry and Grant on the ball pressure guards, like great defensive guards, completing Slukas and Nunn. His rotation and his game has completed. So I think those two has a lot to stop Kalatis. By the way, if you have a full court pressure on Kalatis, he has the personnel to do it. The
coach, the transition of Slukas from Olympiacos to Panathinaikos, and then the addition of Nunn is, when I saw Nunn come in, first of all, my first thought, as usual, was an American coming over the first time. He's not going to know how to play the game in a European style. So again, I'm wrong again, as you guys you're getting the gist of it, you know. And the fact that I think what you just said is that I think this really helps Lucas. This really turns Lucas into a different player, because now all of a sudden he doesn't have to compete with Vildosa. Now he has to compete for time.
Yeah, this is true. Look, for me, Panathinaikos is a nice surprise for basketball, for EuroLeague. Why for that? Because we saw one person like Kostas make so big change. I remember when he was young, I brought him to Olympiacos because I believe that guy can make a great career in the top level of basketball. So I know that he's a person who works hard. He knows to create, but he has also pull up from 3 and from 2. It's difficult to find players like Kostas because he's so smart too. He's not. He has a lot of pressure in the beginning of the season because, as you understand, this big change and the money give him a lot of pressure. But I think the big move was with Anand. Nan, he came and give him more space because he could make score without any plan. He can play one-on-one with against anyone, big, small, inside, outside. He has pull up from 2, from 3. The only weakness of Nan is he cannot create with the ball because he loves to score. He keeps the ball more than he has to.
Right.
So that's the reason which some games Panathinaikos has a trouble with when they attack to Nan, the defenders.
Right.
The other
so
thing
predictable
changed a lot
sometimes.
and gave him more solutions was that Papapetru in the games against Maccabi saw up a lot of solutions with scoring from 3.
Coach, from 3 or from 4?
From 4, from 3. But the most important, he played defense.
Yes.
In the same position. So Mitoglu gave a lot of help during the season, and then that's Ioannis Papapetru arrived to the group. So
Stage,
with Nan and Flukas now play more free because he saw that the teams run a lot better. So that give to Panathinaikos a lot of power.
Yeah.
And for me, that goes up month by month. After January, for me, Panathinaikos play unbelievable games.
Yep.
And in the right moment, when they face up a big problem with Maccabi, they saw Papapetru to give the push to the team to take the Final Four, which they deserved during the season. It was nice to see Panathinaikos, and we'll see now how they're going to manage a team against like Fenerbahce. Because for me,
it's going to be a good matchup because they're two very similar teams, so to speak.
This is true.
They're fun to watch, and I think the matchup is perfect. I have a question from a listener. Anybody who's listening to us now, please, you can send your question to us at the crossover. You'll see in the bottom of your screen a little pop-up that comes up every now and then about sending questions. I have a question that's important before we finish this semifinal and go to the other. From Baris Kazmas. It says Fener has more clutch players, in his opinion, in Baris's opinion. Fener has more clutch players. Who do you pick to take the last shot if it comes down to it in the end of the game? And I know neither one of you are going to say Kalatis.
Well, I think, honestly, Panathinaikos has more closers than Fenerbahce, honestly. You know, Kostas Lukas, for all of his career, is known with his buzzer beaters, game winners. And also Kendrick Nunn had a lot of clutch moments during the season, and he had game winners in EuroLeague too. So in all respect, I think they have more closers than Fenerbahce. But in Fenerbahce, we saw that there's a clear hierarchy now. I see that Coach Sharas loves Scotty Wilbekin, and he give the keys to the Scotty Wilbekin in the end of the games. Okay, we're all talking about those 2 shots of Nikolatis, but it was a result of Monaco's strategy that they left him open. And until those 2 shots, he was 1 out of 8. And kudos to him, huge respect. He did what he had to do. And by the way, as a spot-up shooter, his numbers aren't that bad. He's like 35 to 36% on spot-up, which is okay, for
Hey, Ismael,
Nicolas.
does that come to foul line also or no?
No. Foul line is not his specialty. It's not his specialty. But that's the thing, Joe. You cannot give him the space because he sees all the floor and he can pass to everywhere. So how are you going to go under the screen for Kalatis? Okay, right. He's not going to make the pull-up, but he's going to have the repick, or he's going to kill you with a different pass from his back, from the corner to roll man. So you cannot give him the space. So he knows how to play with this disadvantage. Going back to the closers, I think Scotty Wilbekin is the only player that coach will trust. But Marko Guduric is there, showing his finger. Coach, I'm here.
Well, you know what I like about Marko is Marko wants the ball. He goes to get the ball at the end of the game. I love players like that. I'm just talking about it, I get the chills, when I see those types of players. I got another question before we finish this one, because we have to make a prediction here to this game. Coach, I'm going to throw this question to you because it was directed towards you by Dionysius Bardas. Obviously a Greek guy, so I'm going to ask you the question. And the question is, Coach, do you think the most important thing in the Final Four is to come in with the momentum? The team with the most momentum is the team that has the bigger advantage.
For me, the most important thing for winning this type of games is mistakes. Mistakes about to give the opportunity to the opponent to make easy baskets, and rebounding, because some of the teams, they have weakness on to collect a rebound, and some teams are very aggressive to the offense board. So because both teams, for all the four teams, they have talent with scoring. It depends how you rush and you make mistakes. It's gonna be big
Coach,
thing for me, because they gave to the opponent more confidence.
Which team do you give the advantage in this game between who's coming in with the most momentum? I think Fenerbahce comes in on a roll, but Panathinaikos has been more consistent. Which team do you give the advantage on tomorrow night?
Look, because I know that how they feeling the people of Greece. I understand that Panathinaikos has a lot of desire, but I don't know if they can control the rebounding, and the big guys or Lesor or the other guys, they can control the boards. And but I know that Slukas and Nan, they're gonna have a lot of job to do in this game. I prefer Panathinaikos to win. If you ask me this.
All right, now I got
it's gonna be nice game for me.
Yes, it's
gonna be nice game. Coaches are gonna have a lot of job to do.
Yes, that's exactly true. I think it's gonna come down to many decisions in the end of the game.
Yes, because they have a lot of opportunity to change the game with a different type of players.
Yep. Okay, I got to pass it over now to you, Ismael. I mean, we already got a Panathinaikos guy, even though we know he's Greek. We know he never coached Panathinaikos, so to speak, but he coached probably every player on the team at one point or another. And he's in the same hotel I'm at right now, so I know he's not in Greece, but we know you're in Istanbul. So you have to choose now. Who do you think's got the momentum, and who's going to be the winner, and what's going to be the key to this game?
Both teams are coming from Game 5. Don't forget that. It's really important to have a good series. So both teams are coming out of Game 5. I think there are some there are some important factors. First, is Kostas Loukas 100% healthy? Because he had some health issues, which he couldn't play in the second half of Game 5 against Maccabi. So if he's healthy, we can talk about a balanced game. But I think the most important thing, as coach said, the rebounding numbers are crazy, because Fener can go up to 40, 42, 43 rebounds per game. In some games, as you saw, there was one game where Tyler Dorsey had 7 rebounds. So in their small lineup, everybody can have rebounds. So rebounding is a very good point, as Coach Yanakis says. I think the biggest point is, can Fener run or not? So how Fenerbahce will handle the ball pressure of Panathinaikos against Kalatis? Because if Fenerbahce turns the ball a lot, it's a nightmare for them. So this is why I think the Panathinaikos will have ball pressure with Kalaitzakis. I think he's very underrated in Maccabi series, and Jerry Grant. So they will have all the ball pressure against Kalatis, and how Fenerbahce will react to this, because as you can see, all the post-up games from Fenerbahce are coming in the early offense, if not transition. So they try to play in a fast pace. So on the half court, they're looking up to Kalatis, Marko Guduric, those type of guys. So then it becomes Panathinaikos game if you play Wilbekin as a decision maker, Guduric, ISO. So it becomes Panathinaikos game. So this is why the pressure on Kalatis will decide everything. Can Fener handle that pressure with a secondary ball handler or something else? This is the key, I think, to me in this game.
I'm waiting.
Oh, I'm picking Fener for sure. Hey. Okay. Coach Yanakis picked. I'm picking Fener for sure.
One thing you said is Kalaitzakis was the key to that Game 5, because he didn't shut down Lorenzo Brown, because Lorenzo Brown isn't easy to shut down, but he drove him crazy. So that was, his defense was incredible. And give Coach Ataman enough credit there for putting him in the fourth quarter when it really meant something. We got to move to the other game here. Keep the questions coming, everybody. That was perfect. We had 2 questions for that game. Now we can get a couple questions for the next game, which is Olympiacos and Real Madrid.
Your team.
No team's my team, Coach. I'm like you. My favorite team is the one that pays me.
That's right.
It's always been like that, So Real Madrid is not my team. And as a matter of fact, I always say this: if I had 2 favorite EuroLeague teams, I think my first one would be Zalgiris, because I love them, and my second one would be Olympiacos. And I know the Panathinaikos fans will kill me when I go to Greece next time.
Oh God!
But
you don't, as a Real Madrid legend.
Basketball is over than any team.
Exactly.
As a Real Madrid legend, you don't say that Real Madrid is my team, but you say Olympiacos is my team, and you have guts to say that in a Final Four, which Panathinaikos and Olympiacos are there. Huge respect. I
didn't say they're my favorite team. I said if I had to pick a favorite team.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My mistake.
Those would be the 2 that I respect the most, because I love the character of each club. I love the underdog character of Zalgiris, who always fights, and I love the Olympiacos warrior. The whole life. Yeah. Look at if anybody could hate Olympiacos, it's me. That all the craziness that went on when I played. But we got to get to the game. Real Madrid steamrolled everybody. Real Madrid looked like they were going to go undefeated. I know that's a crazy statement, but they brought that conversation to the table by the way they not only. I did my crossover interview with Nigel Hayes Davis, who went on to score 50 points later on in the game. It's an amazing stat. And he said to me, he's like, man, we have to play real. It was the first time I ever heard a player say something to me like he was scared to play somebody. He's like, we have to play Real Madrid. Have you seen them play yet? And it was amazing that a player said that to me, but it was so honest that I loved it. And now we got Olympiacos, who's is 3 times the charm. Because I look at two different things in this series. Number one is it happened to Olympiacos last year. They beat Real Madrid 2 times in the regular season, and they lost in the championship game. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. And Olympiacos has lost 2 years in a row on devastating shots. Is this time for Olympiacos? Is three that lucky number, that charm? Coach, take this one right off the bat.
I want to tell something. Olympiacos is the best team spirit.
Yes.
In EuroLeague. They play unbelievable. They fight for any possession. They pressure, they run, whatever they get, the opponent give them, they get it. They never stop fighting, even without the best players, without best scoring. For me, it's very important how they pressure the guards of Real Madrid. Until now, the guards, Real Madrid, make a best decision when start the season. They didn't change anything. They bring Cabiaso, and they gave them more breadth to the guards. Mm-hmm. Keep the guards with experience and a lot of read the game, because Rodriguez, Yul read great the game, and they have 2 players with Musa and Cabasso who can run more exciting the game. So they put they saw during the season Hezonia to make great season, also Yabusele, both of them, and they have a Tavares to give confidence defensively.
Yeah.
Maybe they are not so good one-on-one defense with these guards, because the time passed through a little bit.
Yeah,
for them.
But
Tavares make the offensive players to have slow decisions.
Yeah.
They go in and they start thinking. Olympiacos has 2 very good big men, 3 maybe. They can adjust to Tavares. They can make him to have a little bit troubles, not like the others. So, for me, with the game Olympiacos and Real, Olympiacos has the opportunities to beat Real, because it's a team who play aggressive defensively.
Okay.
Maybe make Real to have to suffer during the game, and also they can put the ball inside to have some score.
Yeah.
The other teams, they don't have this opportunity against Real. So the team who can give hard time to Real is Olympiacos.
Yeah, I think Real Madrid would have rather had Barcelona win that series than Olympiacos.
That's true.
Because they know it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But
yeah,
you know what I say all the time, Coach, and you're going to love this because you're an incredible guard yourself. Was Eddie Tavares and Vincent Poirier have given. I think that like Sergio Rodriguez, Sergio Llull, and Rudy Fernandez should give both of them like 15% of their income throughout the season, because like you said,
they have to.
Because of those 2 guys in the middle, they've been able to play for 4 more years. Because if you put any of these guys on another team and make them play defense today, they can't play anybody on defense.
This is true. This is true.
Tavares and everybody in the middle, it's perfect.
That's right.
Ismael, tell me about Real Madrid. I mean, you were probably at the game when they lost their first game of the season, which was miraculous to me. That
Yeah,
Campazzo made that mistake at the end of the game. But
I was there. Yeah.
and that was when Fener wasn't so good. That was actually when Fener was good, but nobody knew what was happening around the corner. Tell me about that game
Honestly,
and tell me
Joe.
about Real Madrid.
Honestly, Joe, that was the game we were expecting the coaching change. But when Fenerbahce won, things. Honestly, I'm telling you
Really?
honestly. Everyone was expecting after that game the coaching change would happen. But when Fenerbahce beat Real Madrid, Coach Itudis got some breathe. So like
Right.
this is the biggest change I can tell you. But talking about this, all the years we were all talking about defense and how offense wins games and defense wins championships. And recent years, I think offensive versatility is more important than defense in EuroLeague. This is okay. You can shoot me to say this, but like this is my opinion because even this year, looking at the teams, the points per possession, we have the four teams. They're in the top 7 in points per possession. Real Madrid, Fenerbahce 1, 2, Panathinaikos 5th, and Olympiacos 7th. So it's all about the versatility, how you find your points. Of course, Real Madrid is there. They're scoring 1.06 points per game, which is amazing in EuroLeague. So, but they can do it with an incredible versatility. Are you looking for a hard roller? You have Poirier. Are you looking for a short roller, a passer out of a short roller? That's Tavares. Are you looking for an off-screen guy? Okay, you use Musa, Rudy Fernandez. Are you looking for an ISO player? You have Hezonja. Are you looking for a pick and roll guard who can distribute to the spot up shooters? That's Campazzo. Okay, for the hard rollers, do you have a passer? Of course, Chacho is there. So do you want a post up player? Of course, Yabusele is there. He can post everyone up. So like they have an incredible versatility. And we're talking about in every possession, if we make a list at top 5 players in every possession, Real Madrid has top 5 players almost in every position in EuroLeague. Who could argue that Campazzo is the best guard? If you don't say Campazzo is the best guard in EuroLeague, you would say he's the second or third.
Right.
Walter Tavares, Yabusele, Jana Musa, Mario Hezonja, all of those guys are top 5 in their own position, I think. So, and then how they play, this is why when they play, it clicks. It clicks, and it's very interesting to me. The only issue might be their 3-point shooting, which even in that game against Fenerbahce when they lost, it was an issue. When they're off in their 3-point shooting nights, it might become an issue. But I'm saying if we have to talk about, because when you make a SWOT analysis, you cannot say anything is weakness for Real Madrid. You can only talk about the threats. So I think a 3-point shooting might be a threat for Real Madrid if they have an off night with the underdog mentality of Olympiacos. They would be there, but I think they're an incredible team. It's Real Madrid and the others for all the season.
But you say for all the season, but in the second half of the season, let's say in 2024, for example, when the new year rolled in, it was a different team. They had the 4 overtime game against Efes. They were beating Olympiacos by 20 points in the second half, and they lost the lead. They struggled on the road against Villeurbanne. They became a humanized team. They became normal. And then, the playoffs come at the end of the season. I think the crazy game for me was the last game or the second to last game of the season against Baskonia, when the game didn't mean anything, but Chus Mateo put all his players back in. He said, no more rest for anybody. And they lost. And that made me think to myself, I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't like a faucet, it's not like water where you put the faucet up and the water comes out. Maybe they can, in the Final Four, of course, we all know it's one game that you lose, you're done. It doesn't matter which one it is. So do you think that record of whatever they lost 6 games in 2024, let's say, do you think that interferes with them or that maybe I don't think it puts any questions in their mind, Ismail.
I will,
They're
I
they're
will,
the best
I
team.
will ask you both. I will ask you both about this. Do you think Chus Mateo had, with his strength and conditioning team, he used that points advantage for his, and then he had the loading in that time? I have the theory of this. Maybe they will have more fresh legs in tomorrow.
It
Coach?
could be.
Look, for me, some coaches, they use it. I don't know if Real Madrid do by this way, but I didn't see any Spanish coaches to use that that
Okay.
way. For me, Real Madrid is nice to see, the team which is nice to see as a spectator, but does scared the opponent this time.
Mm-hmm.
They have weaknesses because they love to play run and gun game,
Right.
but even when they are up by 20, they don't have the decision, the way to play different way to control their power for 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that many times with Real Madrid. They play same type of game, even if they're up 20 points ahead, even if they are down. So this is something which can give a little bit advantage the teams who knows to play this type of game.
Yeah.
To control, to change the rhythm.
But excuse me, was it Madrid had a lot of opportunities to be up 20 points this season also. So
Yes, but this is true. But Olympiacos is not this type of team.
yeah.
Maybe
Look,
Alba.
yeah. To me, I'm gonna build on what you just said, Coach.
And you have to know another thing. Malaga is the first team in Spain.
Yes.
In a 12
That
12,
means something.
12 o'clock game on in a 12 o'clock game on Sunday, which
Yeah.
doesn't respect all the respect, but I think it was after a two game week, and then two games in a week, and then they played on at 12 o'clock on a Sunday game. So
Yeah, but we're
it
not
also
worried
had an
about that.
effect.
We're not worried about the ACB right now. I want to talk about the fact that I want to build on what Coach just said. Coach said something that I think is the most important thing is if there is a kryptonite, so to speak, or a weakness to Real Madrid, I think it's the other team being physical, a physicality of another team that could really come out
Sure.
and make now Madrid now this season I think is a different team with Yabusele, Deck, Capazzo. They've become a team that can accept a little bit more of a physical game than they used to back in the day. But still, if you get after them and you frustrate them and you pound them, they start to talk to the referees. They start to all day long with the referees, and they lose a little bit of focus, like Coach says. So I think it's about physicality that is the key here. And I think Coach Bartzokas is going to emphasize that in this one game.
Bartzokas deny the passes. Be aggressive on the screens.
Yes.
So it's not nice and easy turnout.
Yeah.
And
also there are a lot of
star
players. There are a lot of star players in Real Madrid that they want to be the hero in those moments. Not in a bad way. I'm telling that they want to help the team as the star player. So they go a lot of ISO, and their passing drops a lot. Passing numbers in one offense drops a lot in that kind of possession. So I think Coach Yanakis is very right on this. And when they see a deny, okay, no problem for me. I can shoot, I can drive. This is what Real Madrid players think, because they're big players, they're stars. So you can easily, not easily, but there's a way that you can take away their togetherness, and it doesn't help Real Madrid. I agree with Coach. If there's a way, that's the only way.
Before we come to the end of it, we might have lost Coach there for a minute. But there you are, Coach. You're back. I want to ask a question that somebody just sent here, and it's from a listener that says, "I am just AI3 or IA3 something. I don't know. I don't know what the handle is, but it's something like that. I'm just whatever." And it's an interesting question because I don't really know what it means. So I'm going to present it to the two of you. It's going across the bottom of your screen. Do you think that Bartzokas basketball is going to affect European basketball over the next decade? The style of basketball that he plays, is there a way that it'll change basketball over the next decade? It's an interesting question, but I don't know,
how we can answer this question.
That's difficult because
we never know how the other coaches saw this type of game, because I know everybody wants less dribbling, more passing.
Yeah.
And less dribbling and more passing and more moving without the ball.
Right.
Everybody wants that.
Yeah, I love the way Bartzokas plays. I love his offense. It's kind of like it's very, very spacious. It's kind of like the old days coach, like the Princeton offense. Remember the Princeton offense?
That's right. That's right. Spacing, passing the ball from one side to the other. So fast break not only fast break from one basket to the other, but also from one side to the other.
Exactly. Coach, I think what the question is trying to say is, are they going to start playing basketball like you and I did 30 years ago?
Okay.
So, hey, let's let the young guy fit in on this, because he really didn't see us play. He just heard about us. And, you and I, somewhere we have black and white YouTube videos out there somewhere. So go ahead. What do you think about that question about Coach Bartzokas? They call it Bartzokas basketball. I like that. We got a catchphrase too. What do you think, Ismael?
Giorgos was my assistant.
He was your assistant
in Marusi. Yeah. We worked together.
I love him. I think he's a great coach. A great coach.
I think first, Coach, you know him very, very well. I think his game play reflects a lot his view of the world, because he's a guy that he likes to share everything. He likes equal rights for every person. Like this is Coach Bartzokas' mentality in his real life too. So you see a team like this. So everyone is the same. They share the ball. No superstars over there. And this is an amazing feature, because they lost their star point guard and they lost the MVP of the league. But the system produces, because Alec Peters is one of the most underrated players that nobody talks about. But he's a player that it was a great fit when Alex Vezenkov left, because he doesn't need the ball to score. And suddenly you see what? He scored 21, 17? How? When? Like, he doesn't need the ball to score. So this is what Coach Bartzokas did. And I think this is very important for him. And what he changed, he improved a lot of players too. Don't forget that Mustafa Fall was not a switch defender on defense with his big body. And you guys know perfectly well that it's not easy for those big centers to switch on defense. But boom, you see Mustafa Fall using his length and becoming a great switch defender. So he improves every player every day. And with Kostas Papanikolaou over there, as like I'm the biggest fan of Kostas Papanikolaou in Europe. I saw what he did here in 2012, 12 years ago, against Ceska. They were down by 19, and he was just a youngster, Then they came in with Slukas, with him, and with Katsivelis, I think. And then they boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, everything has changed with that team, and then they won a miraculous championship. So
that's what we talked about, that Olympiacos mystique, that warrior attitude. They never give up. They're always there. They're always going to fight. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But my quick question is really quick for both of you before we have to make our predictions here. Is you mentioned Alec Peters, and I've talked about Alec Peters since he was in Moscow. Why does this guy not play more? Why does he not play more? And my question is, I never questioned Coach Bartzokas because I think he's like one of the best. Why did Alec Peters only play did not play 1 minute in the championship game last season? And I know we shouldn't be talking about this, and I'm going to get in trouble, but let's just not talk about it. Let's leave it at that. But the fact that he played 0 minutes against Madrid zone last year brings me to a question that I have right now from Victor Villa. All right, let me go. Let me get through this. Let me go to the question.
All right, I say that. What if Kostas Lukas made that last shot? So it was.
Yeah, then no one questions it, but
no one questions it. Yeah.
But I mean, there's Coach. If Coach and I sat here and talked about what ifs, we'd have like 12 more championships between us. You know. What ifs don't win games? The results win games. Let me ask the final question here from Victor Villa. Well, I can thank Victor for bringing that question. Is the final four teams know each other very well? Is this a good idea to start with trying new strategies, such as a zone? I brought that up because of the Madrid zone last year, which started against Panathinaikos. We saw Maccabi Tel Aviv play a lot of zone in their series against Panathinaikos. Coach, is this a good time to break out new strategies to surprise other teams, or do you stick with what you know best?
No.
For
me it's, only for possessions, maybe.
Okay.
Possessions.
Right.
But what's the message? What's the message to give your players when you try something?
To have so many days practicing, make one type of defense and to change. Look, zone is a more difficult defense if you play really.
Yes.
Really good. Okay.
It's now in the game
Coach,
nowadays with
Coach. I think from Turkey saw up a good defense zone. With
I don't nurse.
Yes, I remember him.
90.
His team play really good defense zone. But
Ergin Ataman was his assistant.
All the year. Not just for a game. No, for me it's a suicide.
Just a small thing
to do that.
I think just Pablo Lasso was the best at that. Pablo Lasso was the best at throwing that zone, and like you say, Coach, for 2 possessions and boom, and then
that's right. And you can do that.
You know, my favorite time, Coach, is when the other team calls a timeout and they set up their play, and then you go in the zone.
That's true. That's true. You can do that.
You know,
you can do that. So, and you coach, come on.
Yeah.
And you coach, Joe, come in.
Ismail, you were about to say something. Talk to me.
Yeah, the small thing. If new things are for playoffs. This is for thing. For playoffs, you can bring new strategies for one game to the other. This is something else. But in Final Four, these are. I just recently watched the documentary on Manchester City, and Pep Guardiola was saying during the halftime he didn't hit too hard on his players because the final is not for coaches. The final is for players. This is what Guardiola says. And if you're trying to bring something new tactically during the Final Four, you might put a doubt to your player's head. Because you played 35 games until 39 games until coming here. So why should you put a doubt on your players? Now, we're not good. Why are we putting this? They might think like this, and I'm not a big fan of putting something new tactically during the Final Four. In playoffs, you can do that, but not in Final Four.
Yeah,
and also, you send a message that you feel.
Yes, this is the dub. I was talking about. Yeah,
this is what I was gonna say. Like, if Fenerbahce, for example, changes something up to play Panathinaikos, I don't think they believe that it's a fear. But if Coach Bartzokas changes things to go against Real Madrid, who's been the most dominant team, then you could really put a doubt in your players' heads, because you're taking you're discrediting the value of what Olympiacos did throughout the season to get to where they are. And I think that's the main thing. So now the key. I want to ask the key aspects of the game again, but we know what it is. It's don't turn over the ball, control the rebounding. We know that. We know the key aspects to win a game. That's not the big thing. I want to know who's going to come through in the clutch tomorrow. I think it's the second game of the night. Who's going to come through, Coach, in this game tomorrow night?
You're talking to me, huh?
I was talking to you because you're the only one left, I think. I think we got cut off.
Look, for me, I love to see Olympiacos Panathinaikos. It's going to be great for the Greek basketball.
Of course it is.
And also, I want to say that a lot of Greek players are the key of these games.
Yeah.
Nikolathis, Dorsey, Papagiannis from Fenerbahce, Kostas Papanikolaou, Laretjakis. Don't forget this guy. Don't forget this guy.
I told you, I love him. I love the way he plays.
That's right. Me too. And also, the guy Papapetru, Mitoglu, Slukas for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to see one Greek fight in the final.
Well, Coach, we got
and to remind me the final countdown.
Yeah, it'll be amazing. That you already feel the energy here in Berlin as fans are arriving little by little,
and we have to say that there are gonna be more Greek fans in the gym, because during January and December they buy tickets for the Final Four because they believe that the teams they're gonna go to the Final Four.
Man,
can you imagine that too?
You know, I've had so many of my friends from Greece calling me like EuroLeague gives me like 500 tickets to come to the game. Like, I have no tickets.
Okay, my friend. Okay.
The only reason why I get to see the game is because I get to commentate on the game. Otherwise, they give me no tickets, Coach. Hey, Coach, we lost Ismail, unfortunately. You and I are going to finish up. We're all set. We're all done. Thank you very much for being with me. We'll be back again on Saturday to talk about the semis, what happened, and to talk about the finals, my man. Coach, thank you so much for being with me. It's an honor to have you on my show.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.